Acts 28. Well, Acts 28 describes how the shipwreck happened off the coast of Malta. And Paul and the other passengers all managed to get to the beach of Malta. Some swum, some clung on to broken pieces of the ship. And you can imagine Paul, who was an old man now, stumbling up the beach in the darkness. And he describes just some of the things he suffered elsewhere, how many beatings he had so badly. He was once left as dead, probably tortured. His body would have reflected his traumatic life. His health was broken. But we read that it was Paul, the old man, the old guy, who immediately helped gather firewood to make a fire so that they could warm themselves. And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, a viper came out because of the heat and fastened itself onto his hand. When the natives saw the creature hanging from his hand, they said to each other, "Well, no doubt this man was a murderer who, though he's escaped from the sea, justice has not permitted him to live." But he shook off the creature into the fire and was unharmed. Gathering firewood was the work of women in those days, in their culture. And it was certainly not the work for an old man, but Paul did it. I think here you see a picture of what it is to be a Christian, to be a servant of all, to do what others would consider beneath them, to assume someone else will do it. Jesus set us the example when he washed the feet of the disciples, which was the work of the lowest servant. And he told us that he'd done that to set us an example. And you see how the Bible record has a kind of internal credibility to it at this point, because it was winter and vipers hibernate. Paul had bad eyesight, it seems, and it was dark. He picked up the viper thinking he was picking up a stick. But when he got near the fire, the heat woke up the viper and it seized onto Paul's hand. So I think it's little things like that that persuade me that indeed the Bible is the Word of God. Well, the people assumed Paul was a murderer and deserved to die, but he didn't die then. But actually, Paul was a murderer. He admits this, that he had tortured and murdered Christians. Indeed, he ought to have died. But he was saved by grace. He was heading to Rome, and he'd written to the church in Rome that we are all worthy of death, but are saved by grace. And so I think God brought this incident into Paul's life to demonstrate that theory in real life. And God does the same with us. The wonderful principles of grace, which we see taught in the Bible as theology, if you like, are made real for us by the experiences that God gives us in life.